feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. But it's sink or swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Want to put it all together, this is big things. Doing big things, we ain't in the same league. Running a campaign, Roadie 2016. Like a phone that died, putting me in charge. I'm a general, from the front I'ma lead the charge. Like a federal, fell on my lap never. Going hard as ever.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode here on the Shrimp Tank Podcast, where we are powered by Celsius Beverage. This collaboration is done with the Florida Atlantic University, the Adams Center for Entrepreneurship, where we get to find the do's and don'ts of running a business. I'm joined every week with my co-host, Kevin Cox. I want to share a couple of words about what's happening at FAU right now.
Oh, yeah, it's an exciting time right here at FAU. We've got our business pitch competition next week. That starts at noon with poster sessions from all of our WAVE students. These are undergrads that have been conducting research all year long. Then after that, the dean and I will kick off the business pitch competition. 4 tracks this year. The student track, ocean economy track, veterans track, and our venture track, of course, those non-student companies that are a little bit more advanced. So we're going to be doing that next week. Everybody's invited to come out. If you happen to be streaming this right now and you're listening and learning about our guest and you want to see him this evening, just check your email and make sure you register, because our guest is going to be speaking at the university tonight to a group of students. So it should be a fantastic day.
Okay, Kevin, what we always do here on the Shrimp Tank, the first minute.
Yeah.
The process here.
Well, Stuart, what we do is we challenge our guests to do a little bit of their own introduction right here, live on the live stream in front of the student audience, because we try to teach them all to deliver a great elevator pitch. So we start by putting our guests on the spot a little bit by asking them to deliver their own elevator pitch.
How many words are you going to give me?
I'll give you about a minute.
All right. That's okay. Well, all of you out there, all my life, I've wanted to make women happy. Actually, my high school yearbook picture has that quote in it. At the time, I didn't realize fabulous-looking ladies' shoes could do that. But based upon the fact that about 80% of the students here are gals, I think you all recognize how powerful a shoe can be, how it can tell you and your friends how you're feeling that day, maybe where you've been and where you're going by what you're wearing. Like Forrest Gump actually said in that famous movie, it's not just about a box of chocolates, it was about shoes. And that attitude will carry you to a great career. Know what you want, have a goal, be determined, persevere, be humorous through it, because you have to laugh through life. And I think you might be sitting up here one day telling other students how you did it.
All right, pretty good, but a little elusive. I think they're still wondering a little bit, but
well, they should come to my talk tonight if they really want to know.
Well, we'll talk about it a little bit more on the show as well. But for now, let's introduce have our student guest introduce himself and get to the game.
Hi, my name is Trey Williams. I'm a senior and I'm in the entrepreneurship class taught by Dr. Cox. In my professional life, I work in a business advisory firm for a company called Synergy Group, and just a little bit about me. I've always just liked to help people out. Like, the limelight isn't necessarily my space, but if I'm able to help people advance their careers, then that's something I like to do.
Trey, how do you think this game's going to go?
It's going to be interesting. I just hope the business professionals don't outshine me too much.
All right, let's go. Henry.
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. My name is Henry. I work at The Runway, and today I'm going to be your game show host. So today, the game that we are going to play is called the Imposter Game, which is for my TikTok fans out there. So just a little explanation really quickly about how the game works is that this game, I'm going to pass out a few pieces of paper where it is written on them. 3 of them have a company, the same company written on it, and 1 of them has written imposter on it. So 3 people are going to know what the company is and 1 is not. The objective for the group that has the company name is to decipher who is the imposter out of the 4 of you. And the objective of the imposter is to make it seem like he knows what the company name is. We are going to have 3 rounds. Each round, everyone is going to say one word that relates to the company itself. Usually on the first round, it's going to be more of a general word, and then it's going to be more specific as the rounds go.
Okay.
Sound good with everyone?
Yeah,
Well,
sounds
you
great.
guys have good poker faces.
Mhm.
All right,
ready.
All right,
let's
let's
get
go.
those
ready.
papers.
Okay.
Piece of paper. Do not show to anyone. Do not
Okay.
say what your piece of paper says.
I'll look the other way. And don't show the camera, right?
And then the fun of it is also to make the students try to guess as well at the end what the company was.
This is a good game. I play this with my kids all the time. So we're going to have to replay this episode to them.
Awesome.
It is a lot of fun, of course.
Yeah. Everyone ready?
Yes.
We are going to start with Jason. You can say the first word.
Mobile device.
He's allowed 2 words.
No. I mean, yeah, just like a tip, a connection.
Nice
It's
catch,
fine.
Stuart.
Well,
I guess I failed.
I know he's created this, so I guess he gets an extra.
I didn't create this show. I created the shrimp tank, but not.
If you want to say
not-
more than one word, you're welcome to it as well.
I'll stick to it. Mobile device.
All right, Stuart,
New York.
Kevin,
Satellites.
Trey.
Galaxy.
All right, let's go back to round 2. Jason,
Statue of Liberty.
Stuart,
You picked that up from me because I said New York.
You're going to have to find out the hard way.
Public.
interesting word. Kevin,
Let's go with rockets.
Trey.
Fast.
Let's go the other way now. Let's go start off the round 3 with Trey.
Cyber.
Kevin,
Recyclable.
okay. Stuart,
Letters.
last but not least, Jason.
X.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Now you guys are going to have a minute to discuss just between you guys who
Okay.
the imposter is.
I know who the imposter is,
I
I
do.
think.
So do I.
I think it's Kevin. What do you think? Stuart, you
No.
think?
No, he's going next.
Okay.
I think it's our guest here.
I do
Mr.
too.
Weitzman.
You
I
think he?
Stuart's
I
an
think Kevin's.
imposter.
I think Kevin's the imposter. Stuart, who do you think?
So let me understand. If I'm the imposter, I can lie about that, right?
You can.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's you.
I'll
You
go
have
with
to-
Kevin also.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we have 2 votes for Kevin and 2 votes for Stuart. Let's actually make for our public here. Who do you guys think the imposter is?
Zoom out. Let's see who it is. They're saying
Yeah,
it's
the
the
guest.
guest.
Okay,
Anyone
imposter.
Was I set up?
Not by me.
Not by you.
Does he get to guess what the company is?
Yes, you can guess. If you get the company right, if you guess what the company was, you win the game.
SpaceX.
You got it completely
Holy
right.
cow.
There you go.
Wait a second.
All right.
All right.
Wait,
Well,
time out.
Holy cow.
I was the.
What did I
imposter.
win?
Hold on. Hold on.
wait.
What did I win?
Did you guys break the rules here? Were
No,
you
no.
the imposter?
I told you 50-50 on this.
I asked him if I'm allowed to lie.
You are allowed, but I was the imposter, so they all got it wrong. Unless there's 2 imposters.
There
two
wasn't
imposters.
2 imposters. It's just-
What is going on right now?
well,
If you want to win this game, come to that show tonight that I'm putting on.
And
I
yeah,
think
we're gonna
somebody-
leave it
I think we broke the rules over
Thanks for
here.
joining us. I knew that was going to
Well,
go
you-
weird.
You were not, or is there 2 imposters?
no, we had
So
just
everyone-
one. I
so
think he
everyone-
just-
Everyone got wrong. There it is.
I didn't get it wrong.
No. Stuart wins.
I'm the one who
Yeah,
wins.
yeah, you won.
He said,
They
if,
got it wrong.
all right, Stuart, you,
did-
named
did-
the company.
You did good. You
And
did
I
good.
named it.
Awesome, Stuart, you won. Congratulations.
He's
I like this game.
Round
All
two.
right.
I don't know what I won, but
Okay, Stuart, on this part of the episode, we want to learn more about your entrepreneurial journey. Right. I
Okay.
know we could be here for days, probably. There's a lot you've done in your career, over and over again. So let's start with the early days. How did you get involved in the shoe industry, and how did it evolve, and then through the exit and where you are today?
and I have just a minute again. What-
No,
now
no.
now you have more than a minute. Take your time.
Well, you asked a few questions.
Yes,
Which
I
one
did.
you want me to answer?
Yeah, start with how you started out.
Yeah.
We'll ask questions along the way. We got this. You're in
Okay,
good
you
hands.
want to know how I got in the shoe industry? Well,
Yeah.
I didn't plan to go in the shoe industry, and many of you probably listening might not go into where you thought you would. But serendipitously, something happened while I was at the Wharton School. That's where I was, enjoying my hobby even more than my classes. I was painting scenes for Mask and Wig. That's the show company the students put on, sort of like Hasty Pudding at Harvard, which is pretty well known, and doing wonderful scenery. And a fraternity brother noticed my, he thought talent, I don't know, and he said, you ought to draw a shoe or two, maybe three for my father. I said, why do I want to do that? He said, well, my dad has a shoe factory. He's a heck of a shoemaker, good enough to get me in here at Penn, but he buys freelance designs because he doesn't design. Never having drawn a shoe in my life, I accepted the challenge, but I did want his catalog because I was not going to draw a shoe that did not appear to be right for his customers. Looking at the catalog, I drew 20 sketches. I took him to his house at a holiday, sat with his son and him, big chandelier over the dining room table, and I laid him out like you would spread a deck of cards. And he picked one up, and he looked at it, and he let me sweat a little because he kept looking at it, and he finally said, who'd you copy this from? I said, gee, I didn't, sir. He said, I want you to know, I buy copies, but I have to know who they're from, because some companies are litigious. They go after you.
Yeah.
Some don't. So I have to know who you copied it from. I'm sorry, sir. I really didn't. And it's okay if you don't want to buy anything. I came here only because your son suggested it.
Mhm.
And he put it up to the chandelier, and he saw the tracing mark that he appeared to him to be tracing, but it was simply the outline I created first and then filled in the design of the silhouette around it. He said, I see you traced this shoe. Come on, who the heck you trace it from? And I scooping up the picture, I said, it's okay, don't worry about it. It's my design, but we don't need to argue about it. And he took my sketch, and this is what he did to my sketch in front of me and his son. And he crumpled it up. He threw it down on the floor. And that was like, you could hear a pin drop, right? Picked up another sketch, and he looked at it. And he says, you're going to tell me you drew this too? I said, that's from page 23 in your catalog. It's modeled after that idea. Mm-hmm. And he took my sketch, and he flipped it to the blank side. Gave me a pencil and said, draw it for me again. So I drew it for him again, of course, because I had drawn it. And he picked it up, looked at it 3-4 times, flipping back. Give you $20 a sketch. I want you to know that was $380. My tuition was $1,700 a year. I just made a fourth of the tuition in an hour. I called up Goldman Sachs. I said, I'm not going to take the job. I want to try something else. Thank you anyway. And I never looked back. That's how I got into it. But the schooling at that business school helped me create the company. It didn't teach me how to design. That I learned out in the field. That was my graduate school, and watching women and seeing what they want and looking at art and looking at other aspects of creativity. There you go.
That's a phenomenal story. And tell us the first 5 years of your journey, right? It sounds simple, right? You start drawing, but now it gets hard, right? The reality kicks in, right? You have to
No,
graduate.
it
No?
wasn't hard.
Kind of share.
When you're working at your hobby, first of all, it's not work. It was never work. It was really fun. There were no hours. You want work 9 to 5, join a union. This is not. When you're doing your own thing, it's whatever it is. You love it. You do it. And I didn't I didn't feel like I needed to draw shoes and sell shoes. I wanted to build first a brand. I had studied that in some of our courses at Wharton about brands that faded in product but never faded in recognition. And then a great designer would come on board, like Tom Ford did at Gucci after they were 15 years dead. But the brand was still there. And I said, I have to build a brand. So I worked at another company. I learned the trade. That was my graduate school. And I decided I'm going to figure out how to build a brand. And that's what led me to do things. I became known as shoemaker to the stars. But I'm not selling anything to make money on yet, but I am building Stuart Weitzman up.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. Maybe we fast forward, but I mean, some names that all the students will know: Beyoncé, Kate Middleton, Selena Gomez, Taylor Swift, Jennifer Lopez. They all have worn or continue to wear your shoes. How did that come about? Is that working with agents? Is that doing a deal? Is it they just really love the product? Tell us a little bit about behind the scenes. How does that come to be?
Well, you buy a lot of lottery tickets, you may win the lottery. And I was buying a lot of lottery tickets. I was giving shoes out to stylists. I was present at all the award ceremonies. I got interviewed because we had got a couple of hot ones. And I realized it's the stylists who dress these gals. It's the stylists. So because it's them, I have to make relationships with them. And one year, the stylist of Taylor called up and said, I have another client I work for who said your shoes are incredibly comfortable. I hear you'll make some custom footwear to go with the attitudes we need. And this was her first tour. 1989 was the name of the tour. That's her birth date. It wasn't the date of the tour. That was her year birth. So we made 6 or 7 sketches, and they picked 4 of them.
Wow.
And I made all these shoes that she was going to use on her tour. One was a boot that had not yet ever been presented in the luxury market. I'm telling you, ever, okay? She fell in love with it. She didn't wear the other 3 shoes. She wore that boot continually. She still loves it. Actually, I'm going to even talk about that. I do in talks. This year, we're talking 12 years later.
Wow.
She was styled for Capital One to do an ad. They brought her 8 outfits. She rejected them all, came in the next day, dressed the way she wanted to, like she did on her tour 12 years earlier in that same boot.
Nice.
That exploded. So when they see a star like that, then Beyoncé and Jennifer Lopez and even the great ones from 10 years, 15 years, Jennifer Aniston, everyone likes to be with what they think is a winner. And we made it easy for them. That's what I meant by buying a lot of lottery tickets. I went after a lot of stylists. One of them clicked.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a great strategy.
Yeah, I mean, like we interview a lot of entrepreneurs, and often you see the success on social media today, but often, you know, they plant the 99 seeds, and it was that 100th one that blossomed, of course. And it's so important to just always
don't give up planting them.
Just keep planting and planting. And I'm a big believer of that. And you reference relationships. Can you dive deeper into relationships? I built a whole brand, Owl, around relationships because I think it's so important. And these days, so much is on social media where relationships become very transactional. But I could see like relationships mean a lot more to you. Can you dive a little deeper into relationships and how valuable they are running a business?
They built my business.
Yeah.
I mean, I never heard, and I've listened to a lot of talks sort of like this over the years, read interviews. I haven't seen a very successful guy or gal say my suppliers were more important to me than my customers. But I say that all the time. First of all, if you don't have the product, where are you? And they helped me make the product. And every single supplier I had, I didn't care if I didn't pay the mortgage that month. They got paid in 30 days. That got us deliveries before someone else. They knew they were getting their money back, making their profit from it. My employees, well, this is a cute and true story. I did sell my company to Coach, now called Tapestry, a few years ago. My kids didn't want to go in it, had to find a home. So I sold it to Coach. And the guy who was negotiating their side, their head attorney, vice president of legal counsel there, he said, we're going to have to take this amount of money off the offer because we've done a study of your business and your average severance pay is going to cost us 23 years. I said, what are you talking about, severance pay? They're not going anywhere. No. You understand, first of all, we're a corporation. You're an entrepreneurship kind of company. It's not the same. We're going to have to do it our way. But we're used to, listen to this, 6 years of employment with our people. And that's what we budget for. And you're 4 times that, and that we have not budgeted for. Well, of course, he gave me the reason to ask for more money because experience is worth more than severance pay. Our employees were family. They shared, they loved each other. Even the actresses who worked for me, like Gigi Hadid, we did charity events with them. They became friends with all the people in our marketing and PR department. They go out to dinner. You get so much more from them. And a perfect example is Gigi. We're making her about 8-10 shoes a year to wear in addition to the publicity, just for her to wear them around. She called me up one day and she said, 7 of my shoes have disappeared. My sister is my same size and she keeps taking my shoes. Can you remake A, B, C, D, and E? Who's her sister? Bella Hadid. I didn't know much about her. Mm-hmm. She became almost as big as Gigi. So we got 2 for 1, but that was a coincidence, obviously, that she had a hot, well-known sister, but we got it because she was friendly and part of the company. She wasn't a hired hand. And I think every business should work that way.
I agree.
So let's talk a little bit about the branding, right? How did you come to the decision? I know it's relatively common in fashion and amongst shoes specifically to have kind of the founders, the designers, their names as part of the company. We have an accelerator here, and we have a lot of software companies, a lot of things outside of fashion, but most of our, brand strategists and even intellectual property attorneys would say, probably don't put your name in the brand because you want it to be big. You want it to be bigger than you.
I suppose that could be risky.
Yeah,
put your own name in the brand. And
absolutely.
Sometimes there are complications, but in fashion industry, not just we're in the fashion industry, before me, of course, was the Gucci family, the Ferragamo family, all with their name as the product. Calvin Klein and Ralph Lipschitz, who became Ralph Lauren, as we know, they all put their name on the product. And I was going to make a deal with Ralph to do shoes. It was like a launch. I would get started. Of course, eventually I'd change into, or adding Stuart Weitzman maybe, but it was a quick start. And in conversations with him, I asked him about that. And he said, we actually did kind of a local, familial, and friendly study. And people wanted to know who's behind the product. They wanted to know who was risking their name, their reputation, not just their investment. And I thought, I'm me.
Yeah, that's
so
you.
Why not? And he sold me on it. And I really believe that it helps us also become a personality of the company in the events that you go to, especially in the fashion industry. I'm here and I'm behind what I'm doing, and I don't want to embarrass myself. But if I'm like, Martinique or St. Bart or Oracle, or you don't know who it is, and the marketing and PR are so important from a personality standpoint in fashion, that there was no question. And that's why almost everyone has handled it that way. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I got another one too.
Okay.
It's about the design, right? So,
and
you mentioned, and I also read in other places, the shoes are known for being both stylish, but also comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
conceivably, you don't wear women's shoes, so not being the customer.
You haven't checked very much on my background, have you?
Not too much, admittedly.
You've only been seeing me from Monday to Friday.
But what was your design
He's
process?
the imposter. See this?
Did you bring in and have types, or did you kind of just design and figure out comfort later? What was the process?
No. I grew up in a household of only ladies. My brother had 2 daughters. I had 2 daughters, of course, my wife. And I'm starting in shoes, and that attracted her girlfriends, etc. And there was only one thing that was said to me when I would say, wow, that's a gorgeous shoe. It was like, yeah, but it kills my little toe. Or I can't get over it. It's so comfortable. No one ever responded, I bought it because it's so beautiful. I never heard, I bought it because it's so beautiful. They bought it because it was beautiful. But that's not what came out of their mouth. And I said, I have to find a person who can be my mentor in fit and function as well as style. I could be lucky. Maybe I'll need 2, but if I get one, and I found one who's with us in this audience today. And every one of the 40,000 designs I created in my career, she tried on.
Wow.
First for feel, fit, and comfort.
Wow.
She learned how to correct it with the factories that make the mold. It's called the last, to correct it so it didn't hurt, so that there was plenty of toe room, even if the toe was pointed, that the strap didn't scratch the back of the heel and give you a blister. She figured all that out. And not one shoe I ever made was tested on another foot. So when Barbara decided to retire, that was it. I had to sell the company.
Well, there you go.
So is Barbara allowed to come up on air, or does she enjoy coming up on air now? I know you said she's in the. I know you said she's somewhere in the audience. Or is that not her thing?
It's up to Barbara.
Okay. She's
No,
behind,
but really,
she's behind the camera.
You need some. You can't do it alone.
Sure.
And you can't do
that's
anything
what I was
alone, right?
about. Yeah.
He started this thing, but he came to you. You know,
Of course.
you can't do it alone. And Barbara proved to me how you can't do it alone. I mean, gee whiz, there's one of my mantras. If you create mantras and think of them, and even stories, you don't make a lot of mistakes, because when the occasion comes, that thing clicks in and say, no, I better not, because that was a truism I just learned. So Sir Isaac Newton, I mean, Mr. Einstein 500 years ago, he's so famous for this quote he used in his book as a chapter of his biography. If I've gone farther than others, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants, for gosh sakes. If Isaac Newton can do it, I can too. And I looked for giants. I looked for giants like that young lady, Barbara. I looked for giants in advertising. I looked for giants in tanning. I looked for giants in marketing, even photography, for the best photography I could get. And that's how, and they all became friends of the company.
Yeah. Very familiar.
They were my suppliers. And like I said, more important than the customer.
Yeah. Yeah. That same phrase is used a lot in academia and on the research
Well, that's where it
side
came
of
from.
things.
Sir Isaac Newton.
Yeah. So very familiar in the university setting. Jason, you ready to take some questions?
Yeah, students, if you have a question, come on up, line up. And while they're lining up, I have one last question. What was your highest of high looking back and your lowest of low? Right? We all have those moments in entrepreneurship. Was there anything that sticks out where you just had like the highest moment of your life when it comes
in
to
life or in career?
In business,
career.
when it relates to business? Yes.
Because life,
Like
is
it could have been like
question.
Taylor Swift, that
No,
call. It could have been something different. Whatever.
I assure
it
you, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it was the first thing that happened to me that made me decide to cancel that job at Goldman Sachs.
What was the sketch?
I was walking on Fifth Avenue, past Bergdorf Goodman, maybe you know where that is, across the street on 57th with a fabulous shoe store, the number one shoe store, prestige-wise, quality-wise in America, I. Miller. It's now Bulgari, but gorgeous store, I. Miller. And I was walking down Fifth Avenue on that side because I looked at Bergdorf's windows, just see what's going on, and walked down. I'm not yet in the shoe business.
Yeah.
I had drawn these shoes and sold them. And in the window is a shoe, great looking shoe. I said, whoa, wait a minute. And I pushed my nose up against the window to see the label in the shoe. It was the name of the company I sold my sketches to. He made that shoe. 6 months later, I'm still a senior in
Wow.
high school. And it's like, I don't know. What do you think Taylor Swift felt like the first time she heard her song on a radio when she was who no one knew her?
Yeah.
It like thrilled me. I went in the store. I said, how you doing that shoe in the window? And they said, the one with the big bow, the 4 colors. I said, yeah. So we sold it out. We just placed a reorder. Can you imagine?
Wow. That's
That
awesome.
was
Tingles.
the thrill that started it all.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's have some students come on.
Yeah,
up and
it
ask
looks
some
like
questions.
Mia's first up today. Special fun fact about her: she doesn't usually come to class, but she came just today because you were going to be here.
I know. She introduced herself to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Mia.
Thank
She was
you
hiding
so
underneath the
much.
stairwell as well. She caught you right there. See that?
I gotcha.
Yes, that was necessary. Thank you. Hi, I'm Mia, as he formally introduced me. My question was, so when you went to his dad's house and showed him your sketches, and after that talk and he realized like they were your sketches, paid you, what was your next step from sketches to your own business and your own, factory? Did you work
Back
for
to
him?
school.
Back
That
to
was my
school.
junior year. But I
Okay.
continued to send him sketches all through my senior year.
Okay.
He sent me, he paid me over $3,000.
Wow.
And I'm having fun doing this.
Yeah.
And the tuition $1,700. And you think I told my father that I was making this money? I didn't tell him, and I didn't tell Uncle Sam either. And I know the statutes run out, so I can say that.
Good,
And
good.
I was the king of the camp. I'm throwing
Yeah.
parties. I was having so much fun, but I didn't decide to give up Wall Street for 7th Avenue, which is Fashion Avenue, until I saw that shoe in the window.
Okay.
That
I
changed.
see.
That clicked.
So you think staying in the school, learning more about it instead of going like all big, like working for him immediately, like that's the smart route. Like,
no.
patience,
It was a
start
way to
small.
make a few bucks and have fun at a hobby, drawing
Okay.
things. And I went to Wharton to learn as much business as I could, like
Yeah.
you're here at this business complex.
Yeah.
Same exact reason.
Yeah.
And wow, did it pay off?
Yeah.
Because I ended up being, I was the creative director, of course, head designer, but I was also the CEO all 46 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that I learned at school.
Okay.
And the creative director was a talent, a hobby that I developed and improved upon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm excited for tonight.
Going. My name is Sam.
Okay,
Also in
Sam.
this class. You were talking about the importance of building the relationships with suppliers. So my question to you is finding those suppliers, nourishing those relationships, and also dealing with maybe bad suppliers. Say something goes wrong, what's the best way to handle it, both for clothes or any other product?
Well, if a product is not right, you seek to have them make it right. And whenever a supplier hemmed and hawed with me, I couldn't rely on this guy. And maybe I'm not going to sue him over $3,000 worth of leather, but I'll never see him again. I would walk away. I don't like to get involved in fights. It takes up too much time. There's a lot more important things to do. Those that supplied me, I was so loyal to them. A basic leather, maybe like, let's say, black suede that every fashion clothing or shoe house would use. I stuck with one company for it. And they made me any color I want because I was loyal to them. It was not hard to deal with them, but you have to remember, treat them right. Yes, you're the customer, but without them, you're nothing. So they're the supplier. I always looked at it, they're the supplier. I'm not the customer. They're the supplier. That was more important. And it paid off. It paid. When people went to this one particular tannery I'm thinking of to make some exclusive things out of their archive of years back, they would always meet with me first in that season and let me go through their fabulous ideas. Whatever I picked, they respected. They didn't give it to anyone else. And that doesn't happen by accident. You have to make it happen. It's a relationship.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And specifically, you saying you're not their customer, because I've seen some people treat their suppliers as if they're the customer and they have that mindset as the customer is always right. Well, you do need to get high quality, but it's better to approach it as a relationship, especially in my experience dealing with international companies, international suppliers, international manufacturers, is also, as Stuart referenced, like the time and money to try to enforce a contract that's across multiple languages, different regulatory environments. All you're going to do is spend a ton of money on legal fees, and you may not get a resolution anyways. So just trying to maintain, repair, and have great relationships can be a lot more efficient.
Yep.
Sounds good.
I think you just said what took me 4 minutes and about 40 seconds. Well done.
Thanks.
So in private equity and private credit, we always talk about like the valuation process and things like that. And you said you had were able to sell your business to Coach. I guess my one question is, how did you leverage the value that you have as the owner, like the designer, and all of those things in order to, receive a bigger buyout?
Okay, that's part of a total finance talk that I do, which I didn't plan for this evening, but it's so important that to answer that question. I made ladies' shoes, boots, all ladies' footwear. I didn't make ladies' handbags. I didn't do licenses or try to make glasses, sunglasses, eyeglasses. I stayed away from leather coats. Everybody else in shoes, they want to do something else. They want to expand out. But our industry is multi-billions of dollars worldwide. And you could never get 10% of it. There's so much opportunity. I did not want to spread my talent, my team's talent, when I say the company talent, thin. But more important than that, when my two daughters said, "This is what I want to do, Daddy. I don't want to come into your company. I want to sing. I want to write and whatever." I realized I'm going to have to sell it. I have to find a home. You don't just have a big party and say to 3,000 workers, "Adios," whatever. So I knew that these multi-product companies would look at me and say, "This brand is known in every country in the world. And he's got stores, 200 of them in the best streets, and he has nothing but shoes in it. And we make bags," which was Coach was one. When I spoke to Ferragamo, it was bags and others. And I knew they would pay more, because what did they see? In fact, the CEO of Tapestry, of Coach at the time was their name, said to me, "Stuart, we're going to triple your company in 5 years." I said, "Shoe business can't grow that fast, because you can't bastardize the product in a city with 3 accounts. You want to be with the 2 best or the 1 best if it's a small town. No. We're bag geniuses," which they are. "And we also are now doing leather and men's shoes." And I thought, what? He's falling for it. He's falling for it. And he paid me 5 points on the multiple more than I was worth, because he knew he could triple the business, since I did not expose that. And had I exposed it, maybe I would have failed. That takes away from future opportunities. So that was how I maximized the multiple.
Thank you.
Great answer and great story.
It was true. That's what happened. I
Very
remember when
cool.
Victor said, "Oh, we're going to do this." I thought, this guy is such a sucker.
Let's talk about you individually playing sports,
Yeah, I
right? I
love
know you
sports.
love tennis, ping pong.
Yeah.
Just talk about outside of the business for a second. What keeps you happy, in life, I guess.
Listen, it's not only work,
Of course, that's why I'm asking.
And,
I love playing racket sports myself.
And-
Obviously,
and-
you have pickleball these days. It's growing
I've
quite
left
quickly.
that
So
on the
I
side.
play 2-3 days a week. That's what keeps me happy outside
Well,
of work, of course.
I think it's easy for me to say that it's not just about the work, because I'm now retired.
Yeah.
So I figured out it's not just about work, even in a more of a way. I love sports. I love to support organizations that encourage young people to play sports, because there is nothing that will keep you on the right street rather than the wrong street than being involved in athletics.
Yeah.
And also you learn teamship, sportsmanship, working with team members, leadership, honesty, integrity. You learn all that. So sports are super for me. I used to play a lot of squash. Certain age, the knees can't handle the jamming on those wood squash courts.
Sure.
And I switched to ping pong. And actually, I won bronze medal at the Maccabee Olympic Games 3 years ago. I beat a guy 20 years younger than me in the bronze medal game. So I learned to play it pretty well. I love it. I play it every day when I'm free, when I can. I often play against students at universities. At Penn, I beat 4 of the 8 members of the table tennis team.
Look out.
And the captain said, if you were a student here, I'd recruit you. Oh, boy, did that sound good. And I play tennis as well. I support these organizations. My 2 children have become really my best friends because the time is there for it. And I was in Spain half the year, so maybe they saw me half their life instead of all of it now. I love coming to universities. And I will tell you something. I'm sure I'm going to find this out in the groups of students I'm going to meet, because I've seen it everywhere. The kids today, it ain't like when I was a student. You know what we did? First things Monday morning, who's going to have the best fraternity party? That's what we cared about. There were no clubs like you all have. No one's starting anything up unless they were starting a riot or something. That's the way it was 50 years ago. It's not that way anywhere. It doesn't matter which school. It could be Princeton, it could be here, or it could be a little school like High Point University in North Carolina. It doesn't matter. Everybody's involved. Everybody wants to do something better. And when any of you who are going to enter the creative world, and that doesn't necessarily mean design, it could be anything in creativity. Remember, when you sit down to think about what you're going to do, you are automatically trying to make something better in the world. No one creates to make something worse. It's only to make it better. So I see that in the students, and I love it. And Florida Atlantic is my 139th school since I sold the company a few years ago. On this little trip of 2 weeks, we've seen 5 schools. And everyone's different, but the kids aren't. They are so enthusiastic, and in spite of what the hell you see on television today and read in the papers, I always feel after I leave a university like yours, if these are the kids who are going to run America, we're okay.
Yep. And I think that's a great place to leave it. Thanks for joining us today on the Shrimp Tank, and we'll see you here next week.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Stuart. Take care, everybody.
My pleasure.
See you next week.